Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to be planting up a couple of pots for late summer / fall. We've got some gorgeous stuff to work with. We're also expecting a load of plants. In fact, I think I just heard the truck put its brakes on. I think it's over there. It's mostly arborvitaes that we're going to be using in our entryway planting, and there's a couple other things in that load as well. So I'll show you that whole process. I'm hoping to set the arbs in their spots up front by the entryway so we can start getting a visual for that whole design. So we'll work on that. And then we also got the caps in for the tops of the brick pillars. So I thought we could set those. I don't know that we'll actually adhere them today because we might paint them. Anyway, that's the plan. That's what I've got on the lineup for today. And it started off gorgeous. It was a misty morning out here. It looked so fall. It's gonna get like high 80s today. But I better go. I just heard my text message notification, which means Aaron's probably texting me that they're ready. Okay, so I'm just gonna set a camera up, you guys, and just capture this process. Not a lot to it, we're just taking stuff off the truck.
Great sketch doll.
Not at all, no. All right, we got the truck unloaded. There were 30 North Pole arborvitaes and then these 5 topiaries right here. These are an emerald green arborvitae, 3-tier topiary. They're so fun. And I plan to use 4 of them in the barn pots here. These are green giant arborvitaes that have been in here for a number of years at this point, and the pots are like a 2-foot diameter, and they actually have a saucer attached below, so I know that they're not rooted into the ground. And they're just now, if I get close to them, I can show you. They're just now starting to show signs that they may need to come out of the containers and get planted in the ground. See that right there? Just a little bit of stress, not a tremendous amount. So we want to get after it before they do get stressed. And I think another winter in these pots might do them in. So our plan is to get them planted out. Hopefully in like the next week or 2, we can tackle that project. But I wanted to go in with something just a little bit more structural this time so that we had room to plant some color around the bottom and just change up the look, really. Kind of fun to do that. Here's a look at them. They're kind of Dr. Seuss-esque. I love it. And it's fun when you first get them too because they haven't like fully filled in. Eventually this will be a really nice rounded sphere and it'll take up a lot more space down below. But at this point we still have enough space to put pansies and cabbage and things like that in the container around the bottom. So we'll get to enjoy some color. It's been a while since we've had color just because we've only had the evergreens and they really take up the pots over there. Really like that look though too. Okay, so I'm gonna get some help to unload these because they are so heavy. And then we'll head up to where the arbs are. Okay, there they sit. What do you think of those?
They look good.
They do, don't they?
They're emerald green, is what you said?
So I think that's a variety that naturally wants to stay a little bit more narrow, like the North Poles, sort of. But
I think it's similar to the North Pole.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I asked Spring Meadow one time, which is like the shrub side of Proven Winners, like what makes it different. And I think that they said they selected the North Pole specifically for less browning in the winter, and I think deer like foraged on it a little bit less.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Who knows?
If they would have had North Pole topiaries available, I probably would have chosen those. Hopefully they stayed nice and green for winter.
Yeah.
I've had lots of topiaries, arb topiaries before though, and they've been typically pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not as prone to spider mites as junipers are. I've had juniper topiaries, and every time it seems like the spider mites are attracted to them. So anyway, I'm excited about this.
Do you want to do the pure caps?
You want to do the pure cap? Yeah, where are they at?
They're in the red barn. I got to get the tractor though to get the pallet.
Do you need help with that? You want me out there?
I mean, yeah, you can meet me over there if you want.
Yep. So we'll grab the pier caps on our way up to the brick pillar entryway area. Look at this. I had to move a bunch of stuff around me to fit the plants in the back of my gator. Whoa, traffic jam. Our larch is doing real well. That's a horseman's recurva. Planted that earlier this season. Okay, Aaron's grabbing the tractor because pier caps, I guess, are somewhere back here. I might grab a few of these while we're here. These are firelight hydrangeas. Aren't they spectacular? Now, you might have noticed that I used the firelight hydrangeas that we had originally set out when we were talking about the entryway area. You know, I brought plants out and we set boxwoods out and the hydrangeas, and we didn't want to leave the hydrangeas up there because they were a little top heavy and such. Anyway, I've been using those around like the stone path area that we just got done planting because we were able to get our hands on some really full, gorgeous specimens. And I thought, let's go for it. Let's get these because they're going in the entryway and I really want that to look pretty from the beginning if we can. Yeah, I'm loving this. Like, look at how full this plant is already. And they're starting to get a little bit of their fall color. Let's see, I saw it somewhere. Well, that one has a little. See, it's starting to get a little bit of pink right here. They're just so beautiful. Yeah, I think I've got some space. Let's just grab a few of those. I've also got a white variegated miscanthus cabaret, so I might bring both up to try them. Not gonna have enough room for all this stuff. Aaron's here with the tractor. Oh, there they are.
I don't have a ton of clearance over here.
Oh my, yeah. Thread the needle. Look at that precision. Precision driving. Yeah, so that worked out. I'm gonna grab a few more hydrangeas and then I'll be up there. Oh, that's better. I didn't want to be in Aaron's way with the tractor. To walk with him is far. That is 5. We'll do 6 because that's all we can fit. Oh, so beautiful. Okay, so here's where the original firelights ended up, or most of them. And then these are the pots we're going to tackle today. Loving this space. Okay, so these made the trek all the way from Florida. That is where the company is that manufactures these. These are a dense foam.
Yeah.
Covered in stucco.
I don't even know if it's like a dense foam. I think it's just like maybe just a regular foam.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. So they're like a tenth of the price.
Or
of,
less.
Or
possibly.
less of real stone.
Uh-huh.
So somebody reached out. I forget her name, but she
Was
reached
it Cheryl?
out. I don't remember, but she just said, look, I don't have anything to do with this company, but I just know that they make foam pier caps, and you might look into it. Because they can, they're all they're cut basically with just like a hot wire, and they can make them any size you want. You just tell them I want this many inches by this many inches, and they'll do it.
Right.
So, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. For
our application, since ours is a little bit larger than normal.
So the problems we were running into with the caps for these pillars right here is that we made our pillars 1/2 of a brick width wider than like a stock pier cap is. So you get into the custom territory, and when you get into that, you end up with things that are so heavy. Do you remember how many thousands of pounds each cap would have been?
Oh, I don't know, a lot.
Multiple thousands of pounds, which means you'd have to have engineered plans for your columns, which we don't. We would have probably had to have more of a foundation dug out and poured for something like that. We just didn't know. Yeah. And when you do a custom pier cap, they don't do like a solid piece. It's several pieces. So you would see seams where you, kind of like a puzzle, where you had to put this custom pier cap together, and we really wanted it to be all one piece. So we've learned a lot through this process, big time. And I'm thankful there was a company we could at least try this and see what kind of longevity we get from them. And they are paintable. So they came white, but I'm thinking like a concrete gray color, just like a normal concrete, fairly light still.
Probably.
Yeah.
They're very imperfect. The way that you get them with like the stucco finish, there's a stucco option, like a normal stucco, and then there's this smooth finish. And did one of them already chip? A little bit.
A little bit right here.
Well, yeah. So they're not. I think you kind of get what you pay for, maybe a little
Sure.
bit. But I'm
Sure.
okay with that. Probably in.
When we're talking hundreds of dollars versus in the teens, the upper teens, thousands
It's
of dollars.
hundreds of dollars versus thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
and I mean not like $1,000 or $2,000, like over $10,000 if you
Easily.
were to get stone ones after you pay for delivery and everything.
Right.
So I'm happy to spend just a couple $100
Me
bucks.
too.
And put
Me
these
too. Oh my goodness. All of these sorts of projects are brand new to Aaron and I. Like we've never put in a gate before or
Yeah.
pillars. We don't even know what to, like we need somebody who has experienced it that can hold our hand through these decision-making times when
I
we
think
do
that's
these
just
things.
how it is living in a rural area. There just aren't that many.
Like consultants.
There aren't that many people in this area that put up gates.
Uh-huh.
You know, it just doesn't really happen, and so no one has experience, and it's very expensive to bring somebody in from far away because then they've got travel time and
Sure.
you know, and also being where we are. We've talked about this before. Being where we are in Oregon, we have to go like 6 to 8 hours away basically to find anybody who has any experience with that,
Right.
who's licensed in Oregon.
Yeah.
We're so close to Boise, Idaho, but none of them are licensed in Oregon, and so they just don't find any reason to. There's no reason to get licensed in Oregon
Sure.
because there's just not enough customer base.
I kind of want to set these up there though so we can all see how they look.
Yeah, let's do it.
You and I can just heave it up there?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, just
Okay.
wait. When you lift it, they
Okay.
weigh nothing.
All right.
You're going to be on your tippy toes.
I know, that's why I'm like, ooh, am I gonna be able to do this?
Here we go.
Oh, that is light.
Can you do it?
Oh, yeah. Can we scoot it?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, that looks pretty. I really like that. All right, what do you guys think? I think they look great. Like really good, Aaron.
I kind of like the white.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think if we did them not dark, but just a light gray like our fountains and things are, I think it'll be more in keeping with everything we have around here. It'll still be bright, but I think it will also cover over some imperfections
Yeah,
as well.
maybe.
Yeah, it'll make them blend a little bit more.
How are you going to paint them? Do you like spray paint them or?
I don't know. I got to look into that. Like what I can paint over stucco that'll last and look good.
Yeah.
I've never painted over stucco before. But anyway, our initial idea, you guys, was to do a pretty intricate looking cap with a finial. And then with the size of these pillars and the size of all of it, we just felt like it was going to be too much. So we decided to go with something a little bit more understated. It still has a little bit of detail, you know, with the kind of molding look, but it's simple. And I think I like that the best. And given the fact that these were so cheap,
Yeah. Right.
we could swap it out, you know, if we
Right.
don't end up loving it, which also is a nice thing. It feels like a low commitment way to carry forward
Right.
just to finish this up. Okay, so now we're going to work on placing these arbs, which we thought were going to be a lot bigger than they are. We did want a bunch more arbs for the dirt land, so I don't know what you want to do. I'm okay working with them up
I'm
here.
probably fine with it too.
They do grow fairly fast. I think what happened is I think we initially ordered 15-gallon arbs that were supposed to be about 6 foot, between 5 and 6 foot tall planted. And then I don't think they had enough available. So I thought we bumped up to a 6 foot B&B, which, you know, that's why we had the tractor out. We thought that they were going to be much heavier and much bigger. But what we were bumped to was a 6-gallon container, and they're a lot smaller, which means easier digging. They look nice. I mean, they look beautiful over there.
It'll
And
be way easier digging.
look at this whole area, Aaron.
It looks really good now.
It does. It looks beautiful. I think I would like to pop some hydrangeas up here too. I brought some with me.
First of all, I never really realized, but there's quite a divot right here.
There is.
It goes down. Do you want to try to build that up a little bit?
Probably so.
Okay.
At least maybe to where you're at to the stone.
Yeah, because it goes down a little bit on that side too, but not as drastically.
Right.
And we may want to.
Here comes Paul. Well, we've got lots of soil just right there. So we could put a couple of scoops in here and
Yeah, or do
bring
we
it up.
just do compost?
I don't know. Whatever.
Because if we do soil, we have to put compost on top of it.
Well, we're going to have to anyway because we're going to mess up the mulch when we plant. Yeah. I also need to swap these out. These are all the independents. We're going to do freedoms, right? They get a little bit bigger.
Oh, these are the small ones?
These get 3x3. But now that we're not
It
planning,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I was going to say, now that we're not planning on doing
This isn't the hedge, like, because the arborvitaes are going to be the block,
right,
the actual hedge.
So what we need to decide is where we start the arborvitaes, how much space we give the hydrangeas, where we put the grass if we're going to use one, so on and so forth. So I'm going to again just set the camera out. We're going to just mess with things, you guys, and then we'll walk you through our thoughts here. I love it though. I feel like, oh, we're getting that much closer to getting it all buttoned up here. We've got all the plants set up here, and while they're not in the exact configuration I think we'll end up with, in fact, we've already made adjustments from the original sketch that I had made. I think we need to live with it for a few days, maybe shift some things around and make some decisions, but I'll walk you through our thoughts on that here in a second. But the plants are so gorgeous in and of themselves that I think that they're a really good choice for up here. So a little side view here. Look at how beautiful. So again, we have the Independence New Gen Boxwoods. These grow 3 by 3. We have the Firelight hydrangeas, which start off this beautiful bright white, and they're already starting to fade like we looked in the back, and then they turn that bright pink color like that, my goodness. And these grow 6 to 8 feet tall and wide. And then we've got our North Pole arborvitaes, which grow 10 to 15 feet tall, 3 to 5 feet wide. We might top these and make them more of a formal hedge looking wall. I don't know yet exactly. And then I brought up a totem pole grass, which is already not quite fitting in. I really like the texture and it might work in the end, but we'll see. The other thing in the drawing, I had the arborvitaes more in line with the maple tree, and I think that that would look like too much competition. I think that they either need to be behind it, which would make them on the north side, and Aaron thought, you know what, that would give them too much shade, and he's right, or we need to bump them forward. And I do think it looks good to have the biggest element here, the thing that's going to create our living fence. I think having it come off the brick pillar makes the most amount of sense. I had in my drawing the back arb hedge in a straight line, which we could still do. And what that would do is open up a little bit more space right here to have either the ornamental grass or a small ornamental tree of some kind that we could uplight, and then have the hydrangeas a little bit further forward, which would bump the boxwoods forward a little bit. So I don't know what we'll do there. We didn't really set these up except for the arbs are in an arc right here, which on this side, the arbs look real good in an arc. Coming off and kind of going toward that spring grove. And we haven't really messed with the boxwoods or hydrangeas here. So we just need to figure out, I think number one, figure out if we go straight with the arbs or if we curve with the arbs. I just didn't really want like a curve and then another curve and then another curve all matching. So if we did the curve of arbs in the back, I kind of want to do the other ones in the opposite shape. I don't know, we'll just have to live with it for a little while, but so far, I love seeing more things up here, more bulk up here, and I just love seeing the interest. I think it's gonna be gorgeous no matter what. But I think that's where we're gonna leave it today. Maybe we should take a very backed up look at it. And I don't know how those of you who live in areas with high humidity and also high temperatures, how you do it. Because even though we're not getting very hot today, 88, we're over 70% humidity right now, which we're usually in the low teens. We're used to really dry heat. I can't imagine those of you who get like 98, 99, 100 degrees with 80, 90% humidity. Oh my gosh. Props to you for keeping your gardens alive. So standing back at the actual entrance of the property here, you can see, I do think we need to draw the plants forward a bit more. So there's a little bit more breathing space for everything. This little mailbox will be gone, so maybe we'll scoot it over so it's just not even in sight. Yeah, I think just drawing things forward a bit, making sure that everything has a chance to get the size it needs to be, which honestly means we might be going down to 3 hydrangeas per side rather than 5, because this side can't accommodate 5 like this side can. Yeah, we're just gonna have to play with it a bit, I think. But I love the caps. I love just seeing something sitting here with some flowers one step closer, because this is really, other than if we decide to squeeze some kind of ornamental tree in here, we've got everything, all the elements here we need to complete this part of the project. Okay, so let's move on to our last project of the day, which are those 2 containers up front, and I've been looking forward to this. All right, here are the containers we are going to swap for some new stuff. Now, we've got some plants in there that are green, and there are some buds and things on them, but these poor dahlias, they got spider mites pretty bad there for a little while, and I am not or can't be certain that we got them 100%. And we're kind of at that point of the season where if I start seeing something that's struggling, I'm ready to swap it out for something fresh. Plus, I don't want to risk keeping these plants up here if there are still living mites in there that could possibly spread to my other plants in this area. It's not really worth it, especially this late in the summer when I'm getting ready to transition to new container plants anyway. So a few things that I've got in here are some Rudbeckia, some Heliopsis. There's some Vinca in here and on the ground. I dropped a few of them off earlier. And then up front here, I've got some gorgeous Rudbeckia. These are so pretty. And then I also picked up some ornamental little peppers here. And I've got these petunias, which were a complete impulse buy. I don't know really what possessed me, except for they looked so fall and pretty just at that moment. So we'll see if these work their way into this arrangement. Of course, these won't last as long into the season as the other things will, but they were just so pretty I couldn't pass them up. Okay, so we're gonna do a complete clean out of these containers. I'm gonna get some fresh soil and then we can plant. Okay guys, we're gonna use some of this neem and I'm gonna spray these pots down. We got them pretty much cleaned out. I mean, there's a little soil at the bottom. The likelihood of mites or any mite-related activity being in the soil at this level is really low, especially if we go in and I'm just gonna spray down the concrete, the area around it, just to make sure, just in case there's something lingering. Spurge. The other thing I'm going to do is run some drip to these containers, and I'm going to pop each one of them up on some bricks. We ran into water pooling in one of them earlier on this season because they were just kind of sunk in the soil and it was plugging them up. So we ended up just taking the drip out of both of them, cutting that out, and we've been hand watering them all summer long because I already had them planted and they were established by the time that happened. So this is our chance to rerun drip, which, oh my gosh, look at this gator. It is just so full of pretty things. I went and I got the drip all ready to go. So this part is pretty easy. I've got one length of it all ready to go. So the brown portion has drip emitters every 6 inches, and that's what we'll lay on top of the soil. I've already got it coupled into our supply line, and the supply line will run out the bottom of the drain hole and it will come out through here. And honestly, I don't think I made it, well, I made it long enough to hook up to drip once we get drip run to this plant. So I'm not going to connect it into the system today on both sides. I thought I was going to, so I'm not going to need these couplers or my punch tool. We still need to retool the drip in this area after I planted everything the other day. So once that's done, we can actually cook them into the system, but at least it will be run underneath the pots and it will all be in place. Won't need that. Better close these up. Okay, so I'm just going to tip the pot and pop the new drip tube underneath. Look at that. Perfect. And then while it's tipped, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill in a little bit underneath, and we're going to put some bricks under it. There, that looks pretty good. So you can see the bricks underneath there. I just fluffed some mulch around the bottom of those bricks. You can't even see them. And that allows our drip tube to be able to move freely. It's not pinched under there, and it leaves a good amount of space underneath for water to drain out. Problem solved. Yes. pots are ready. They've been raised up on bricks. We've got new drip, new soil. I've been messing with plants a little bit. Might try to sneak one of those little quick fires in because, oh my goodness, how gorgeous is that? And maybe like one of the heliopsis in here. Maybe our petunias in the front. I don't know. So let's just play with these plants and make something really pretty right here. I was not anticipating putting this big of a root ball in here, so I might have to remove some of the soil. Normally don't have to do that when I'm planting smaller root balls. Okay, I need to rein it in. Just roughing up the root ball a little bit down here. It actually isn't very root bound at all. I'm able to make it quite a bit smaller. Okay, it's definitely one-sided though, so I feel like that side should face the arbor, maybe. Making sure there's soil tucked in around all the root balls. Oh my goodness, that's wet. Oh, it's pretty. Oh my goodness. Sneak some soil in there. Look at this, you guys. Oh my goodness. It is so pretty. So I ended up with one of the hydrangeas in there, Firelight, a Rudbeckia, another Rudbeckia on this side. We've got our pot of petunias, which I'm thrilled are being utilized. And then we've got our vinca right here. We've got some heliopsis around the back. And then one of our sedum, which kind of hides the back of the hydrangea a little bit. And this is on its way to blooming pink at the moment. So we're just gonna do that one more time. All right, guys, look at these containers. They turned out beautifully, I think. I think they're so striking. And I was a little nervous when I went in to put in the second hydrangea. This one was way more splayed out, while this one was way more upright, but turns out that the splayed out one was easier to sort of tuck plants in and around, and it makes it look just a little bit more full, I think. Well, you can see like there's a little hole right here, but that doesn't even matter, does it? They're so gorgeous, and I love the way these petunias look with the Rudbeckia. And then this one right here kind of matches this one. So it all ties together beautifully. Paul's back there working on the drip. But look at how gorgeous these are. Oh my goodness. I love them. And I think I've mentioned recently, because we did put together containers in front of the flower shed, that in the fall and in the spring, I tend to like to really put a lot of plants in containers because they can handle it. They're not putting on as much growth at this point, especially as you go closer into fall and the days are shorter, the temperatures are getting cooler, things just kind of stop putting on growth, and you can really put a lot of things together and they're not harmed at all in that process. And the fun part about this one is that the hydrangea, I'm having to look because I got to remember the heliopsis, the sedum, the Rudbeckias, the vinca, all of those things can be replanted out in the landscape later. The only thing that will be taken when it gets really cold are the petunias. And it's nice that these hydrangeas, you know, these blooms will just kind of dry on the plant, and we can leave those up for the winter time and maybe tuck in some other evergreen branches around them, or we can plant them out in the landscape later on this year yet, before winter hits. So anyway, here is a backed up look. at this area. They're looking much more lively than they were before. Even though those plants weren't bad, they were just struggling a bit. There we go. And you guys, that is going to do it for our projects for today. I'm so excited about the area up front. I think tonight when it cools off a little bit, because it's still like so hot and muggy out here, I want to go out there and just look at it, fuss with some stuff. I already think I'm going to make the boxwood hedges way bigger, like come way more forward and create more room in the center, like the planting area. So I just want to fuss with that a little bit. And when we, come to our final decision, we'll bring you guys along for that whole process. We'll also probably show you when we paint those pier caps and get those adhered to the top of the pillars, but it's all good steps in the right direction, I think. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.